Let us look at the coke. If you see the metals have thermal conductivity anywhere between 200 to 300 BTUs per inch. And coke, depending on whether it is fluffy coke or whether it is hard dense coke, the thermal conductivity can vary between 1 to 30. We typically use 15 in refinery applications. So the coke has 10 times lower thermal conductivity or 10 times the insulation value. So if the metal temperature rises 25 degrees, the temperature rise across the same thickness of coke will be 10 times or 250 degrees. The thumb rule is 1/8 of an inch of a coke adds up to 100 degrees of tube metal temperature rise. This is a picture of coker heater, and if you look closely, you can see the scales on the tubes. That's how bad the situation was. This is the double-fired heater. I don't have to tell you what happens when coking starts, but coking of tubes will lead to several problems in fired heaters. Tube metal temperature starts going up. Fluid side pressure drop also starts increasing. Firebox temperature goes up. To maintain the same heat transfer, the firing rate goes up, the efficiency comes down, and ultimately the charge rate starts limiting. And finally, you have to shut down the heater and either decoke it or peg it to clean the tube and then start all over again. And that's a very expensive shutdown if you have to do it. So here we are showing you a radiant tube metal temperature profile. And even though the model we use for our calculations is based on continuous stirred tank reactor, that means the flue gas temperature across the whole heater is uniform. There is only one temperature, but that does not happen actually in real life. So you can see in a case of a vertical cylindrical heater, you can see the hotspots over here. You can see these hotspots, and the temperature is almost like 1130, 1150 degrees, so you can see this hotspots. Similarly, this is another depiction of radiant heat flux in a vertical cylindrical heater. We are trying for uniform heat transfer and uniform heat flux in all the radiant section, but the reality is much different. The presence of ultra low NOx burners and long flames have created zones of high and low temperatures. The industry has also moved to long, narrow boxes to save money, and that creates a temperature gradient in the firebox. And this gives us a very different flux profile. Our experience is that flames remain straight for only 10 to 15 feet. They are just gas jet, and afterward they start losing shapes. The flames are drifted towards the tubes, causing high tube metal temperatures. And in this slide, you will see the flux variation actually, and you will see the flux variation in the whole length of the tube. The top 1/3 is only 7,000, the middle 1/3 is 15,000, and the bottom 1/3 is 22,000, almost 3 times what is happening on the top, And the average is around 13,500. So you could see how much flux variation we can have. And you can also see the maximum heat flux going almost like 37,000. And this will definitely lead to coking and high tube metal temperatures in fired heaters. So I did some research, and I looked at API 560, I looked at API 535, and I looked at what type of solutions are available if you have high tube metal temperatures. And I found that there is no permanent solution available. They are all telling about change the burner tip or check the burner tip angle, check the burner tip location, or if your tip is plugged, you know. So poor mixing of fuel and air, flue gas recirculation pattern. So I could not find any fix, real fix to solve the high tube metal temperatures in fired heaters. So these are all temporary fixes, and our experience is once you start having high tube metal temperatures, then it is not a question of when, but how. It's not a question of what needs to be done, but when will you have a shutdown, you know, and how long can you avoid it. So our technology is very, very simple. The basic premise is high tube metal temperature is the biggest problem in fired heaters. And most of the high tube metal temperature is due to localized flame impingement. Hot flue gases in the vicinity of tubes causes high tube metal temperature. Historically, fired heaters have been fired vertically upright, sideways, downwards. Our technology installs burner at a slight angle and reorients the burner flame away from the tube. It is based on a very simple concept, moving the flames away from the tubes. And when you talk of radiation heat transfer, the flames never come into the design or heat transfer. So by moving the flames away, we are not affecting the overall heat transfer. And in fact, we are moving towards uniform heat transfer. And this slide I'm showing you, you can see we have looked at the temperature profiles, and you can see the flames are in the center and rest is lot cooler zones all around the tubes, you know. And that's what you want actually. You want hot flue gases in the center radiating heat to the tubes and having uniform heat transfer. So our technology is eminently suitable for existing heaters with ultra low NOx burners. We have seen that these heaters were originally designed with standard burners. When the standard burners were replaced with ultra low NOx burners, the heater started having hot spots and flame impingement. In most cases, the burner to tube clearance reduced, causing problems in operation. And it is not possible to enlarge the radiant section to keep flames of the burners away from the tube as possible. And we have overcome this limitation without increasing the cost of the heater, without changing the design of the heater, to put these burners at a slight angle of about 5 to 7 degrees. Most of the time, you won't even notice it. So flames of the burners, ultra low NOx burners, could be anywhere between 15 to 25 foot long. They could be even taller. So when we incline these burners, these flames start moving away from the tubes, and we increase the clearance between the burner edge, flame edge, and the tube almost like 1 foot for every 10 feet of flame length. And if it's a 25-foot flame length, we have added another 2.5 foot clearance between the burner flame edge and the tube, and that's very, very important. Also, we need to remember that flames are not uniform. They are widest at about 1/3 the height. The flame temperature profile is also varying. So in inclined firing, we may have burners close to the tubes, but the flames are moving away. And it's a very economical solution to eliminate flame impingement and reduce tube metal temperature. So in inclined firing, the burners are installed, maintaining enough distance between the burners to allow for flue gas recirculation. We do extensive CFD modeling to ensure that all flames are separate and they are not merging together. There have been some people who think that flames coalesce, but we have done more than 15 heaters and we have not had a single case. We make sure that extensive CFD modeling is done and enough care is taken care to ensure that flames are straight and separate. So we have not had any cases of any flames coalescing taking place in any heater. I want to show you a burner to tube clearance on a 8-burner system. And if you look at this chart table, you will see at 0 elevation or at the floor, the burner to tube clearance is 6 foot 4 inches. But as we keep on going up, and if the flame is 25 foot long, we have added another 3 feet clearance. So what we are basically trying to do is trying to keep the flames away from the tubes, and it really helps. And also the flames are not hot at the bottom. They are generally at 1/3 or 2/3 height. That's where they are more high temperature. So it really helps to keep the flames away from the tube. This is at 7-degree angle. This is a picture of a vertical heater, just a graphical representation, and you can see the clearance between the burner and tube in the vertical fashion is about 2.5 feet, and which we increase it to 5 feet. So another 2 feet we are buying, So that's basically what our technology does, just move the flame away from this thing. This is another one in a platformer heater. You can use it, and it's not just limited to VC heaters. You can use it in CRU. Here we are showing the 2 cells of catalytic reformer or platformer heater, which were big, and we can use burners in inclined fashion firing towards the center and moving the flames away. Very simple concept. Double-fired coker heaters have become very common in the industry. We find many are suffering from high tube metal temperatures from day one. The high tube metal temperatures have been caused by long burner flames and inadequate burner to tube clearance. We did a study for a client on their double-fired heater and found that the burner flames were almost touching the tube, or almost like 6 inches away. And we modeled the same burners at 5 to 7-degree angle, and we were able to see a big difference in tube metal temperatures. And the flames basically move away from the tube and start hugging the refractory. We increase the clearance almost by another 2 feet, and the TMTs come down by more than 100 degrees, which is a big number for a coker heater. And this firing pattern can be also used in new coker heaters without any extra significant cost. So very suitable. And you can see the flames over here. This is an actual study we did for one of our clients. This is another heater we have done for horizontal tube end wall fired heaters. We don't build too many end wall fired heaters, but it's an old crude heater with end wall fired burners. The heater was experiencing high tube metal temperatures, and we did the CFD to show, and you can see yourself the color of the flames. Red is basically, much concentrated in the center actually, and the tubes are experiencing a lot lower. We even did it in ethylene crackers actually. We did a modest CFD model of a furnace, and you can see the difference in a vertical firing and inclined firing. You can see in our model, the flue gas temperature is a lot lower, and as compared to almost like 100 to 150 degrees lower, and the tube metal temperatures are also lower, and the flames are firing a lot more towards the wall actually. So it can even be done in ethylene crackers if the high tube metal temperatures are an issue. And I know ethylene crackers have a big issue with tube metal temperatures. So today we are going to be talking about a case study on a crude heater. And this is a case which I first told you about when we started. So we got a second chance to look at in 2014 to look at that heater again. The client had gone ahead and replaced the existing burners with new ultra-low burners and air plenums in 2011. Now, even after doing that revamp, they were still having lots of issues in the crude heater. So they contacted us in 2014 and we did the study and later on the project. So this was a vertical cylindrical balanced draft heater with common air feeding system. The heater was originally built in 1976 and revamped in 2000 and again in 2011. And client was facing a number of problems, was facing capacity limitation due to high tube metal temperature. The situation was so bad that they had wrapped some of the radiant tubes in ceramic fiber blanket. They were having flame impingement and it was leading to soft coke deposition in radiant tubes. The client had other issues like combustion air maldistribution across burners. The client could not get full capacity. So we did an engineering study to improve the reliability of existing crude heater, improve performance of existing burners, mitigate flame impingement. They wanted us to restore the capacity of the heater. The heater was firing, facing combustion air shortage during the natural draft operation. So we looked at several ways of improving the heater reliability. So this is the heater design, original heater design and existing heater design. Original was 133 and they had already expanded the heater to 162. The charge rate they had increased from 50,000 barrels to 80,000 barrels. The number of fluid passes they had changed from 4 to 8. The flux had increased from 12,000 to almost like 14,000. What they did on burner side was the original heater had 8 burners of 22 million BTUs each at 8 foot BCD, and they had changed to 12 burners, 16 million BTUs each. When they did that, they had to increase the burner circle diameter because these were ultra low NOx burners, so they went to almost like 11 foot 8 inches or an increase of 45%. And as a result, the burner to tube clearance was lower by about 2 feet. And this was not even meeting API. So this heater, they gave us operating data for this heater. And let's look at the tube metal temperatures. They were exceeding 1100 and sometimes even 1200. And if you look at it, we analyzed 4 years worth of operating data when they started. If you see over here, the temperature is close to about 800 at the start. And as you keep on going up, it goes up to about 1100 degrees. Then again, they clean the heater. It comes down to about 700 degrees or so, 800. And then again, it goes up to 1100 degrees within a span of 1 year. Again, they clean it. So it was becoming a big problem for them. You expect crude heaters to be running for at least 5 years. I mean, if you have to shut down the heater in 1 year, it's going to be causing a lot of profit loss. So the high tube metal temperatures were really, really acute. We carried out the CFD model of the existing burners and tried to understand what the problem is, and then we kind of worked on the solutions.